Dear students, today we are here to understand the aspects of the Regulating Act 1773, the reasons and the special features of the Act. Regulating Act 1773 was the first parliamentary ratification, codification, confirmation, justification or authorization defining the powers and responsibilities of the various organs of the East India Company, including its territorial control over Bengal. The Regulating Act was passed in the British House of Commons on 10th June in 1773 in response to severe financial crisis within and public humiliation surrounding the East India Company. Generally, the British Regulating Act can be considered as the initial endorsement of the British government into the control of the Indian subcontinent. By 1773, the East India Company was in dire financial constraints or crisis asking for assistance from the British government. Faced with corruption and nepotism or partially amongst company officials in India, the British government enacted the Regulating Act on 10th June in 1773 to control the activities of the East India Company. The Act set up a system whereby it supervised or regulated the work of the East India Company, but did not take power for itself. Passing the Act, the British government decided within a few years to take a more active role in the affairs of the company. According to V.D. Kulshrestha, through the Regulating Act, the British Parliament got an opportunity to tighten its stronghold on the company's affairs. Causes of Regulating Act of 1773. Regulating Act of 1773 had some ultimate causes before reformatting the policies of the company and regulating the authoritative power of the company over the territory of British governmental rule in India. The causes of Regulating Act are deteriorating financial condition of the company and its heavy debts, corruption amongst the servants of the company, complicated administrative problems of the dual government, public opinion against the company gathered momentum in India, lack of proper judicial administration, lack of central authority to control and guide the affairs of the company, company's defeats in 1769 at the hands of Hyder Ali of Mysore, terrible famine in Bengal which took heavy tolls of its population. The company applied for a loan of £1 million in 1772. Passing the Regulating Act of 1773. Regulating Act of 1773 was introduced by Lord North on May 18th, 1773 in the House of Commons as Regulating Bill. The Regulating Act of 1773 had three main objects. Number 1, to reform the constitution of the company. Number 2, to reform the company's government in India. And the last one, to provide remedies against illegalities and operations committed by the servants of the company in India. Accordingly, the Act changed the constitution of the company at home, alerted the structure of the government of India and proved in a very insignificant manner for the supervision of the company by a minister. When the bill was introduced in the House of Commons, it was severely criticized, but the bill was ultimately passed by overwhelming majority of the House of Commons on 10th June 1773 and subsequently by the House of Lords and received the royal assent on 21st June 1773. The salient features of the Regulating Act of 1773. The Regulating Act of 1773 permitted the company to retain its former possessions and power in India, but the management was brought under control by the British government. Some of the salient features of Regulating Act are mentioned below. Number 1, appointment of the Governor General and Council. A Governor General and 4 councillors were appointed in the presidency of Fort William in Calcutta. Number 2, election for directors. The directors of the company were elected for 5 years instead of being elected for 1 year. 1/4 of them retired every year and the retiring directors were not entitled to be elected again. Number 3, decision by majority present. The Regulating Act declared the names of the first Governor General and 4 councillors. Warren Hastings, who was a governor of Calcutta, was appointed the first Governor General. Their term of office was 5 years and the king was empowered to dethrone them even earlier after the recommendation of the Court of Directors. Number 4, Control over correspondence. In order to assert Parliament's control over the company, the directors were required to place regularly all their correspondence regarding civil, military affairs within the Indian authorities before the Secretary of the State. All correspondence regarding to revenues in India was required to be placed before the Treasury in England. Number 5. Extent of Governor General's power. The Governor General in Council was given all the power to govern the company's territorial acquisition in India, to administer the revenue of Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, and to supervise and control the general, civil and military government of the Presidency town. Number 6. Bombay and Madras under the control of Governor General. The presidencies of Bombay and Madras were placed under the control and superintendence of the Governor General in Council while exercising their power to make war and peace. The Governor General and the Council were to keep the Court of Directors fully informed of all their activities affecting the interests of the company, and they were also to work in entire obedience to the orders and instructions of the Court of Directors. Number 7. Establishment of Supreme Court of Justice. Section 13 of the Regulating Act had empowered the Crown to establish a Supreme Court of Judicature at Fort William in Calcutta. The Supreme Court was presided by the first Chief Justice Sir Elijah Impe and 4 other puisne judges who were barristers from England. The Supreme Court exercised civil, criminal, admiralty, equity and ecclesiastical jurisdiction over British subjects and were not authorized to try matters pertaining to the Indian natives. However, as time passed, the Supreme Court did not exercise its power as enumerated under the Regulating Act of 1773, which can be seen from the very famous cases of trial of Nandkumar, the Patna case, the Kamaluddin case and the Kausijara case, which paved the way for passing of Act of Settlement in 1781, limiting the powers of the Supreme Court at large. From the aforementioned discussions, it is to be said that the Regulating Act, although passed for the benefit of natives residing in India, proved to be fatal for the whole administration of justice in India, as the conflicts between the executive and the judiciary was visible not only to the Indians but also to the British Parliament. Thus, the Regulating Act, rather than bringing far-reaching changes in Indian administration, brought about conflicts and disparities amongst the servants of the company itself. With this, I would like to conclude the session on the Regulating Act of India 1773. Thank you.